Chatting to someone over the weekend about what makes trading hard. I mean, it should be a fairly easy thing. You press buy and sell after you've analyzed your setup, and that's it. But what makes trading difficult is, unlike any other profession where you go to college for it, and you've got your family keeping you accountable, you've got your professors, lecturers keeping you accountable, as well as your marks. So there's that actual data that everybody's looking at and they're keeping you accountable. So it's easier in a way to go through college and succeed, because there's all of these accountability mechanisms and structures that society has built so that you can take it seriously. That's it. So you wake up every day, you make sure if you've got an exam or a lecture to be able to study for it, even if it's cramming the day before, whatever. But in trading, it's a one-man show. It's you and the charts, and what you're hearing instead of encouragement from people a lot of the time is you're hearing discouragement. What is this thing that you're doing? What's this trading thing? Why are you scamming? What's going on? Go and get a real job. Go and study something for real. And unfortunately, in most cases, people end up doing things that they're not in love with because of those societal structures. So that's what makes this more difficult. But if it was also part of a college, within a college or a university structure where you study for it, people take it seriously, you're getting degrees, you're getting some kind of paper, in terms of qualification and all, then all of a sudden it would be a different thing, you see. So find a way to create your own structures around that. It's not enough that you do your daily meditations or your daily watch list or you're writing in your diary on a daily basis. Find some structures that you can create that are outside of yourself, where there's people keeping you accountable, whether it's accountability partners, whatever, other things, and traveling as well. So I'm slowly starting to get back into my accountabilities, and I've got a lot of messages on Discord. I'm sure some people watching have sent me messages on Discord. I've got probably close to 100, so I need to go through that slowly as well and get back into some kind of accountability as well. So I'll just encourage you to find a way to do that. It might be being part of a community or a community that you create yourself of serious people. There's different structures. We can talk about structures of accountability of it on a different day, and the different ways we can do that. If you're not part of a community whereby sometimes it's also easier to have those structures. But nonetheless, this is my top 3 for the week. So here we have the dollar Swiss franc, and all I'm looking for here is a push down and a flag. But on the other side, we can see, okay, we had the structural approach. But if I were to just take these lines out over here, we basically right now is just underneath the left shoulder. So what may happen, instead of us dropping down from where we are, we might get price to just peak a little higher, just above the shoulder. It might even tap into these areas here, this sort of area. There is that possibility of going a little higher before the drop down. But if I take it to the hourly, we have the 4-hour 1, 2, 3, of which you should have seen that on the daily. Sort of this the second touch and the third touch. The first touch is somewhere back there, but over here we've got a small little extension which is also giving us like a 3-touch structure. So there is still this possibility that we drop back down into the pattern. And if we create a little continuation pattern in this area, I'm all for that, and see if the probabilities are with me on this one. GBP USD. Okay, this one is pretty simple as well. We've got the structural approach, the first touch, second touch, and then over here we will see, internet is a bit slow today. We will see if we get this third touch. If not, even if we bounce off of this line and create a continuation pattern, I'd be all for something like that. Ooh. Let's quickly look at the higher time frame. Maybe we can even take it to the daily, just to get a bit of context around this one. Okay. Okay, I'll just flip it over so that it's easier. So we have the structural approach to the double top, price push down. We have this, it's more defined on the 4-hour and the hourly, but we do have this hook point, and so price has come back into it. So I'll be looking at what happens in this area. Do we have a nice confirmed push down that we can see on the hourly? Maybe 2 candles or so, and a continuation on the 15-minute, then I'll be all up for that. And then here I'm going to leave this one on the daily and just flip it back. This one is interesting. I had it on the watch list, I think, a few weeks back. So if you look on the weekly on this one, we can see this large, very structured pattern with the first touch, second touch, and now the third touch. We've got depth at the bottom as well. And what I like about this is now that we have that larger 3-touch pattern, so we've got the first touch, the second touch, and then there is a possible third touch. So I've got 2 positions that I'll be taking here, definitely. The first position that I'll be looking for is if price can push up a little bit here and give us a nice subtle little candle and then a rejection candle. That could be a retrace, a pin bar on the daily, okay? On the daily specifically. Sorry, this is flipped. So I'll be taking a long position here if we get that pattern. Anywhere in this area. And typically for this kind of position, the dailies, I just take a TP at 3%, which in this case, it lines up nicely, depending on how large the candle is, but it may line up nicely with this point here where anything can happen. It can go back up, create a head and shoulders or whatever. I'll just take my TP right there. And then the second position I'll take is the usual, of course, in this case it will be a push down and a flag. Okay, so another thing is if I see the rejection on the 4-hour instead of the daily, I'll take the 4-hour candle as well if there's something that looks good there. But just judging by the 1 hour, there is no 4-hour pattern, so I probably wouldn't take the 4-hourly I'd only usually take it if there's a 4-hour pattern. So what I'd be looking for here is for price to get to this area and to push down. I'll be with you in 1 minute. Push down and a continuation in and around this area. So the continuation could be a little higher. So if we get something there or just underneath this point here, I'd be happy to take that. Nonetheless, there's someone knocking on the door, so I'll see you again next week. Cheers.